Kent in front suffers from a little oversteer. And Chairman Peter Wheeler in the thick of it. And back on board to Short as he loses a place to the man. While Bob Sands also comes up past the Rover-powered car. How soon can Martin Short get his hands on one of these new engines was the question. And so it was Kent who ran out the winner of the second race in the first event at Silverstone. Past the checkered flag and followed once again by Steve Cole. Gavin Cooper up to third, Sands, Steve Guglielmi and Peter Wheeler sixth. From Silverstone, the cars moved on to Oulton Park for round 2 of the challenges. Out the back of John Kent's car, and that's the sight that he likes to see. Everybody else following him down the avenue as Short goes wide onto the grass. Once again, it was Cole providing second place fireworks. And also coming up and showing his nose to the opposition, young Jason Yeomans, as Colin Blower snatches a place at Knickerbrook. Behind Blower, Gavin Cooper had to give ground, while Short was pressuring from behind. But out in front, Kent once again was dominating the proceedings. Short looks at the inside of Cooper, dives for it and gets through. So the top 4 places change, and a slide off the road there sees the end of Steve Guglielmi's challenge. Out 2 into the boonies goes 25 Jason Yeomans. So Cole second, Blower third and Short up to 4th place. Through Fulstons, out of the back of the leader's car, we watch the 3 behind. Still the opposition led by Cole. A slower car between himself and second man, not quite. Cole comes through, but Blower's caught behind. That allows Short to get alongside him, but not for long. So the flag falls for another win for John Kent. Behind him, Steve Cole, Colin Blower, and a closely following Martin Short with Cooper and Wheeler next up. Replay again, and the second of the 2 races was the question. From pole position, once again, Kent made a good start, but this time Coles was better. But at a whole haul, Charlotte Osborne and Gavin Cooper see an early end to their race. Evasive action involves a couple of other people, and the race was red flagged. At the restart, Kent got it right this time, took the lead once more. Short desperately tried to get through on the inside here, coming into Old Hole Corner, and Cole had to give ground. Down the hill, 50 yards ahead of the field, came John Kent. Well in control of the situation, with Martin Short now providing the challenge as they went out into the countryside. Through Fulstons, it was Kent all the way. And the checkered flag victory, flag to flag once more, saw Kent now dominating the series. Race 2, event 2, but Martin Short showing something of a challenge coming up to second place with his new engine now installed. It was on from Oulton to Donington Park for round 3 of the championship. This time, Kent didn't get the drop on the flag. It was Cole who got himself in front. But not for long was the question. Out he spun, coming out of the old hairpin and up to the front. Once again came John Kent with behind him Martin Short. Giles Cooper in number 15 trying to make some ground, and Short trying to close the gap. But on the inside, coming into the complex, it was Ian Flux, showing the flag for the Rover engine cars and a 4-year-old chassis moving up. A none-too-rare T-bone. Roger Connell the sufferer, with Giles Cooper ploughing into the side of him. Sorry, chum, but that's not going to pay for the damage. All's not quite so well as it might be. Watch the bonnet. So John Kent once again dominating the race here at Donington Park with behind him a tremendous scrap going on. Nick Creswell showing his form here, forcing himself through on the inside of Martin Short and being pressured all the time by Fluxy. The three of them down the straight, side by side. Who's going to be the last of the late breakers? Well, on this occasion, it was Creswell. The final laps of the Donington Park race. By now, Creswell in a firm second place. But the scrap for third, fourth and fifth well and truly joined, with Flux coming through on the inside of Short and Colin Blow with a car that was set up in such a way that it handled better towards the end of the race than it did at the beginning. Kent takes the flag in Derbyshire, however, to make it 3 in a row. Behind him, Creswell, Blower, Ian Flux fourth, Martin Short and Steve Cole back up to sixth after the spin. Castle Combe for round 4 of the challenge. An undulating, bumpy circuit, very much a driver's domain. And this time it wasn't Kent who dominated proceedings from the front of the field. It was Blower, with Short behind him and Kent back in 5th place in the initial stages. A spinner coming in there to the first corner was Pete Brown. Chairman Peter Wheeler, who'd been on the pace in the early races, wasn't that far off it at Combe. We watched from Bob Sands. By lap 7, John Kent was giving no respite to any of his competitors and was up to 3rd place. A slide off onto the grass saw the end of Jason Yeoman's challenge here, as Kent came charging up the inside, but wasn't successful on this occasion getting past Martin Short. The leaders bunched up together a bit, and old King Cole striving to keep the door shut on Kent. And on this occasion, successful. So still it was Blower, with Short desperately trying everything he knew, and Cole under pressure all the time. Kent almost circling the field in his efforts to get through, and Cole getting past Short. Short now, subject to John Kent's attentions. But Nigel Tustain's spin and Matt Doman's unfortunate fire saw the red flag come out. So the final result saw Blower win from Cole, Short, Kent, with Creswell 5th and Flux 6th. But already John Kent was building up quite a lead in the championship. Brands Hatch on the short circuit the next round. And Kent showing that he knew his way around the Kentish curves probably better than anybody else. But this again was to be a problem for a number of drivers. As the leaders went on towards paddock at Clearways, there was a problem as 15 Giles Cooper spun his car. Into him ploughed John McQuilkin. Others took evasive action, including 1 or 2 going into the sand. And out came the red flag again while the fiberglass was cleared up. The restart and a bad start for Kent. Blower slotting himself into 2nd place and looking threatening as they went into paddock. Chairman Peter Wheeler in number 8, finding himself further back than normal. And up on the outside there of number 40, Martin Stewart. Ian Flux's early warning system well up to speed. Up goes the hand and he retires with style. Just what the cause was, we yet to find out. But Kent versus Blower was the order of the day, with Cooper in 3rd place. And Cole this time finding himself overshadowed by a hard-charging number 7. Mark Preston was another man to find the gravel trap, and was thankful that it worked for him as he spun off at high speed. But try as he might, Blower couldn't manage to dislodge the leader. A good look on the inside here came to nothing as the checkered flag came out to declare a result. And Kent won from Blower with Cooper 3rd, Sands, Guglielmi in 5th place and then Steve Cole. the second race, and Peter Wheeler gets a better start. Out in front, however, it was Kent once again. Sands and Cooper got it all wrong. Not quite sure who started it, but at the end of it all, it was Cooper with the big damage to the car. So Cooper fell back, and a hard charge here by Martin Short, not having one of his better days. Steve Guglielmi following him here. Short dives for the inside here at paddock. They meet, both slide, and then avoided by Guglielmi. Meanwhile, Reed returns from the sands, and Ken passes him. On his way to victory once again, followed and worried by Blower every inch of the road. By now, Kent making his presence felt at the head of the field, with wins in all but one of the races so far. The unlucky Ian Flux getting himself up to 5th place in the second of the two races ahead of Peter Wheeler. 70 points lead ahead of Blower though. Kent went on to the next round.
I don't know how she does it. Well, Energizer lasts longer than your ordinary SP battery.
Energizer. Longer lasting batteries.
Hotbird is here. Eutelsat's powerful new television satellite for 13 degrees east. Just point your dish to 13 degrees east to get over 30 exciting TV channels. Hotbird is channels in English with news and live financial updates 24 hours a day. Hotbird also has sport, movies, and all your favorite music. Hotbird, the best in satellite television.
By combining art and technology, it is possible to improve the quality of life. Making things simpler, more useful, more beautiful. We've created a car with unique Ecotec engines for power and economy, with electronic traction control for unbeatable handling. A car that combines art and technology beautifully. The new Vectra from Opel. It is art in motion.
What's a ship to me? It's like a baby, a part of the family which will follow later in life. We're in every corner of the world. It's essential for us to deliver spare parts. I have to show our customers that we'll always be there when they need us. The secret is to find people we can trust. Professionals with know-how. The people at DHL are there when we need them, and that's every day.
DHL, we keep your promises.
Of Stone Age. The dawn of a new age. The age of Clarion, car multimedia. Clarion, car audio and beyond.
Jim Beam. This ain't Jim Beam.
Hey, what the? Ain't nothing compared to Jim Beam. Finest Kentucky bourbon since 1795.
We joined Gavin Cooper at Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium for round 6 of the Tuscan Challenge. And he makes a fine start and sets off down towards Eau Rouge. Out in front, John Ken showing his mettle, but now Flux with his new engine, very much a man to watch. And Flux it was out in front soon. with Cole behind him in number 3. Cole, with all the troubles of the world on his back wheels, comes down towards La Source. And Martin Short, using his knowledge here of Spa, tries to go round the outside. It doesn't work. He's got to put that knowledge to use a little later. Another man in trouble was Bob Sands. But out front it was Flux, showing how well he knows his Spa and what a fine driver he is. Short up to second place, these two having raced at Spa, the others not before. Nick Creswell here in number 33 was making some ground. Ahead of him was Old King Cole, but not for long. Out of the race, into the barrier, and a new car required. The final stages, and Flux not giving away too much except a little ground to the hard-charging Short. Creswell keeping the pressure on and closing the gap a little bit on Colin Blower. Out of the little left-hander into the right-hander at La Source. And looming up behind was a hard-charging number 2 Rod Gretton, who spun his chances away. Headlights ablaze, it's a change of lead as Martin Short goes past an ailing Flux. Flux fights back as Gavin Cooper here gets himself in trouble once more and damages the bodywork. A good restart as we join Simon Toyne. He, like some of the other drivers, finding this circuit character building. Martin Stewart going well. And so on this occasion was Sands. Out in front, Short now had got more of an advantage through the bus stop. Into La Source and accelerating away up towards the checkered flag. Out it came, and Short took his first TVR victory of the year. Kent managed it up to third, retaining his position in the lead of the championship ahead of Blower, Creswell and Gretton. Castle Combe once again for the next round of the challenge, round 7. Kent much happier on this occasion, but Flux definitely providing some of the fireworks. These two desperately trying to get away from the pack behind. Lappery already, with Flux still trying to find a way through into the lead. And behind a snapping trio, and on this occasion Short not really on the pace. Once again Blower was showing his form. The car getting better as the race went longer. While out of the challenge was Steve Cole on this occasion with mechanical problems, only to return later. Blower past Flux, almost unthinkable. And Cole returned. Now the question was, could Colin catch Kent? With Flux in trouble, it was all down to the Hinckley garage owner. And a back marker in the middle, Jean-Francois Biel, not making it too easy. But the yellows went out and Blower braked when John Reed's car expired, and through past the checkered flag to take another win came John Kent. Blower second, his challenge perhaps spoilt by that moment. And not just by that, because a 10-second penalty robbed him of that second place and gave it to Jason Yeomans, with Short third, Creswell, then Blower, and Gavin Cooper sixth. The big question was, could he do it better this time? And the answer was soon clear. He was going to try. Steve Cole, with the car rebuilt, really going for it and making his way up from the back of the pack. A hard try here was Yeomans once again. while Cole was disposing of back markers as if they'd just invented them. Out in front, Kent looked comfortable. Short now was behind him, and Blower back in 5th place. The top 5 spaced themselves out a bit. A good drive too on this occasion for Jason Yeomans. Martin Crass was going well in his new car, but a spinner here was Peter Wheeler, a rare occurrence. Short made his challenge, trying to go round the outside. Not the easiest place in the world to try and move like that. He'd closed the gap. He was determined to try and make it a win at Castle Combe to match the one from Spa. Meanwhile, Cole's progress everyone had been watching. But this time, it all went wrong for him again. A touch of the grass unsettling the car, and he was a spinner. Missed by one car, and the other 2 there not involved in his incident. So Kent came through to take the checkered flag from Short, and it was all over at Combe. Behind Martin Short was Blower, Nick Creswell 4th, then Jason Yeomans and Gavin Cooper making it the top 6. The TVR air display here at Donington Park. And if that wasn't enough excitement in the air, there was some down here on the track with Flux back again with a vengeance. Martin Short too was giving something of a problem to Cole. Up front, however, John Kent in new colours was being pressured all the way. A scrappy moment there as through came number 7, Bob Sands. Rob Gretton in number 2 was losing places. Peter Wheeler, one of the people who passed him on the outside, had to lose it on the inside as he outbraked himself. Out onto the straight. Flux there twitching the tail out and setting about Kent as if there was no tomorrow. And there probably wasn't. If, for example, he wanted to take the championship. With such a lead now, it was a question of throwing caution to the winds. This time it was Kent, however, who threw the car at the scenery. A quick spin seeing him drop places and hand the lead to a delighted Ian Flux. So Flux wins round 8 at Donington Park ahead of Kent, Short, Cole, Gavin Cooper went up again and Colin Blower this time back in 6th place. Back to Oulton for round 9, and this time a good start from Blower from pole position. Martin Short came up sharply to 2nd and went round the outside going into Old Hall. But Blower was equal to the challenge and held him off. Kent held a watching brief in 3rd place with Flux all over him like a rash. But a huge coming together saw a number of spins on the exit into the Cascades, but no harm done. The top 4 into Lodge Corner. A closely fought battle here, but Blower getting the best of it. Behind careful Colin, however, John Kent was making his play, watched by Flux. The man who lost out on that one was Short. Meanwhile, further back in the field, things were getting hot, as they were at the circuit. Corkin goes through, but this time a huge spin sees Roger Connell give the cameraman a shower and the TVR a bashing. So Colin Blower, comfortably in charge at Oulton Park, was making his presence felt. Peter Brown flashes his lights, but he's the back marker and Blower's bearing down upon him, followed by a hard-charging Kent, these two now well ahead of the field. But it was the 47-years-old Hinckley garage owner who came up to take the checkered flag at Oulton. A fine drive and a great reward. Results there sees Blower ahead of Kent with Flux third, Short fourth, Cole in fifth place, and then Steve Guglielmi. The second race, could Blower do it again was the big question. Martin Short thought not. Careful nudge there for John Kent didn't help any, however. It was a tight battle going down the hill on this occasion. And Cole was well up in the running, hanging on to third place with 77 Jeff Thornwhite up too. Out in front once more was Blower. Car and driver in irrepressible style. But Ian Flux, after a disappointing first race, was trying much harder this time around. And so was Cole. The rebuilt car not, however, quite as good a challenger as the first one was. Guglielmi was on the pace now. Challenging Cole, but out ahead, Blower had things very much his own way. Out of the flag, absolutely unchallenged. And behind him, John Kent, Ian Flux, Martin Short, Steve Cole and Guglielmi once more. With Kent getting good places and Blower getting wins, the championship was hotting up. What could Flux do about it? Get himself on the front row at Brands Hatch was one answer. Kent made a good start from the third row, trying to get himself in between the two second row guys, but it was Blower leading once again down towards paddock. The field still tightly bunched, and are coming together once again. Saw Steve Cole taking out Gavin Cooper, but I don't think either of them started it. Out front, Blower still in a dominating position. But Flux, with the car now going an awful lot better than it had earlier in the season, hanging on to second, as sliding widely, Guglielmi found himself broadside in the middle of paddock. When Flux retired, Kent took up the challenge, followed by Short, and that's the way they finished as they came up to the flag. Once again, Blower the man of the moment. The results then, another win for Blower from Kent in second place, Short third, Gretton fourth, Creswell and Jason Yeomans. But that early start of the season has seen a big lead for John Kent, 92 points over Colin Blower now, with Short in third place ahead of Flux, Cole and Creswell.
Formula One. We're racing to explore the future of the car.
Super Trinitron wide. Be careful what you watch.
Every year, Delta fly more passengers than any other airline in the world. And that calls for a little synchronized flying. Delta Airlines. You love the way we fly.
Next time you choose a tire, all we ask is that you remember why. Firestone, the science of safety.
You know his name.
Bond, James Bond.
You know his number. And you know what he does best.
No more foreplay.
The world's most famous secret agent is back. GoldenEye.
Round 11, Snetterton, of the TVR Tuscan Challenge 1995. And once again, a good start for Colin Blower. Second fastest in practice. But in the race, Blower fell back to fourth on this occasion. And the battle up front was one well worth watching. Ian Flux, on a charge here, comes through to take the lead. Quite firm his intentions and making it clear to Steve Guglielmi exactly what he intended to do. Guglielmi spun, was missed by short, collected it back together again and rejoined in about 9th place. With Flux out front, the battle concentrated on what was going on behind. Blower was second, but it was a good drive too for Robin Brundle, going well on this occasion. Out the back of Martin Short's car, watching behind him, car number 3, Steve Cole. But Kent didn't get to lead the championship by not trying. Here he was trying very hard to displace Blower. A superb manoeuvre here by Brundle saw him lose another place. But as the flag came out and we went to the results, Brundle found himself penalised 10 seconds after a fine drive and was relegated back down the field again. The top 4, Flux, Blower, Kent and Cole, then Yeomans, with Brundle finally taking 6th.
Not very.
The second of the 2 races, and almost a similar start. And Flux once again gave himself some hard work to do. This time Blower was the man who had to be passed. Blower back to second, Kent up in third. And we follow John Kent, the leader of the championship, as they go out onto the long straight. Desperately trying to close the gap, lining himself up there for an effort and getting himself up into second place. Short back in fourth with Brundle right with him. And Brundle showing perhaps he should do this more often. Guglielmi having a fine drive, but up front it was a change of leader. As up came John Kent to show Ian Flux what it was all about. Flux didn't think a lot to that. Had to go back again as they came under the bridge. While Blower behind in third place had a grandstand view of the fight in front. Guglielmi here found himself ahead of Blower, with Brundle right on Blower's tail. Flux forced his way back to the front. And Guglielmi now was the man applying the pressure. But Kent was equal to it, hanging on to his second place. Till on the inside, locking up brakes, through came Guglielmi to snatch the place. It was a bit of a muddle as they came out of the tight left-right, but he still hung on there. Guglielmi then came past Flux. A surprising manoeuvre that one, and Flux letting him get on with it. For Ian, one nuisance had been replaced by another. This time Kent had the grandstand view. Back in fourth place, nothing much that Blower could do. He got his hands full of Brundle. Now Flux pulled a cunning stunt. To the outside, forcing Guglielmi to brake later than he wanted to. Somehow or other, he made a complete mess of it, clipped Flux, but lost the lead. And John Kent was up alongside him in a trice. The flag came out, Flux was the winner. And Guglielmi found himself vying for second place on the flag and just losing out. So Kent finished second, Guglielmi third, Jason Yeomans fourth, followed by Brundle and Short. Back to Silverstone for round 12. Once again, Flux in irrepressible style takes the lead, with Giles Cooper here in number 15, perilously close to the pit wall, trying to make some places. Guglielmi a good third, and Short the meat in the sandwich. The challenge on this occasion without Colin Blower, who'd survived an unpleasant accident in practice. And potentially there was another one too. Tony Mannock lost it in the biggest possible way, no one was quite sure why, and hit the pit wall very hard indeed, depositing debris all over the road and bringing out the red flag again. So Flux was the winner from Short, Guglielmi, Kent, Cole and Yeomans. Race 2, however, might have turned out to be a different story. A great start by Short saw him take the lead in the early stages. And a far from good start by Flux saw him drop back. The big queue at Cobb's Corner. And Jeff Jane's one of the people who has to take to the grass. Out in front, making the most of it, however, with Guglielmi hanging on to second place, was Martin Short. And Flux desperate to find a way through and doing it here in immense style. It's hard to realise that Martin Short has only been driving TVRs for just over a year. He came from the Rover Turbo Cup. Flux placed pressure upon him, headlights ablaze, desperately trying to close the gap and take that lead. Up towards Copse he was able to close a little. A faster entry in. And right with him as they came out up towards Beckett's. Into Maggots, however, the door firmly closed in his face. A different line for the two of them through Beckett's and out onto the straight. Flux now looking for the classic outbraking manoeuvre. And just finding time and room to do it. A gentle brush and Flux goes through into the lead, correcting the car as it slides and smashing the line 2 for the right-hander. Big moment here for Rod Gretton. Collects it back together again on the green paint as up to take the checkered flag came Ian Flux. So Short in second place in a fine race and Guglielmi finishing third. Behind the top three, Kent, Cole and Yeomans, but Kent's fourth place was enough to take the championship. A massive 638 points securing it. With the unfortunate Colin Blower out of the running, the fight for second place in the championship between Short and Flux. Donington Park for round 13, unlucky for some. On this occasion, could it be that it could be a lucky one as far as Ian Flux was concerned? Certainly, into the first corner, it looked that way. And Flux showing that he meant exactly what he said in going for second place in the championship. Jason Yeoman's going well in spite of the smoke. And Giles Cooper having a good run, not that far behind him. This was Martin Crass's exit. How did they miss him? Cooper up on the inside here, made another place. Martin Short the victim on this occasion. Not one of his better races. Flux, like a cyclops with one eye blazing, was going hard and well. Up to take the checkered flag, both hands in the air. Kent second, Cooper third, Short relegated to fourth ahead of Sands and Lord, meant that Short's chances of second place were slipping away a bit. In the second race, however, the question was, could it be done again by Flux? Colin Waterhouse took a bang in the tail and a bang on the wall. And Flux took the lead, going into Redgate Corner. But this time, Short was much more with it, following him every inch of the road. Coming up well too was Bob Sands in number 7. Flux looks dominant out front. The gap behind sees Short having all the problems in the world with Kent. The championship won, but the champion definitely on the pace. And Kent made his effort here on the outside, not the easiest place in the world to do it. Stopped on the straight was Martin Crass, steam coming out of where steam shouldn't be. While Flux was on his own, streaking down towards the complex. Goddard, and Flux brakes and changes down. Accelerates out, up goes the hand, and another win for Fluxy. This old chassis doing the business. Behind him, Kent, Short, Chris Lordwell up, Bob Sands and Steve Cole. Donington again for round 14, and the same protagonist but a different order. This time Short really getting his act together with Kent behind him and Flux relegated to third place. Peter Wheeler sees Gretton and Cooper go off and makes a place himself into the bargain. Gavin Cooper walks away from a badly wrecked car. No room at the end. Short, the man, forced into a position where he outbraked himself and ended up in the gravel. Mark Hales returning to the championship goes through. Short collects it back together again, absolutely furious, now in fourth place. Flux came through to win, but not before recovery by Short had seen him needing just 1 point from the last race of the season to take second place in the championship. Hales finished second in the first race, followed by Short, Kent, Cole and Cooper, all behind Flux. What would happen in the last race? Doing it right this time, Martin Short made a massive start. Inside line, saw him hanging on to second place as they went into Redgate, just dropping back to third on the exit. Mark Hales there lifted a wheel. And John Kent was pushing his way up through the field. Just as exciting as ever to watch, even with the championship won. Bit wide and over the grass, however, saw all that come to nothing and some places lost. Short now took the lead, just the place he'd want to be, as Giles Cooper walks disconsolately away in retirement. With Kent back in front, as far as Short was concerned, his major aim was to try and keep away, if at all possible, from Ian Flux. And Flux here making it somewhat easy for him. Desperately trying to get past Cole, too much power, spins the car, ends up facing the wrong way, and it won't restart. So the final race of the season, running out a win once again for John Kent. As the gloom fell at Donington, it was joy for second place man here, with Martin Short taking second place in the championship. Cole finished third, Hales fourth, Yeomans fifth, and Mark Preston sixth in the final race. And in the championship, with Kent the winner and Short second, Flux had to be satisfied with third ahead of Blower, Cole and Creswell.